This presentation is on token economies. It is part of the 40-hour training for RBTs. It is offered independent of the BACB. Token economies are a behavior change system approach. Basically, they're used in a way that will alter behavior in a more appropriate manner to a more appropriate manner, and in the antecedent realm. It's occurring before behaviors start. But it is also a consequence strategy in some ways, because you'll be providing tokens as consequences, as reinforcers. There are three primary components within a token economy. You have to identify what behaviors we are reinforcing. We have tokens for engaging in those behaviors, and a token could be something like a natural token, tickets, marbles, whatever. And you have backup reinforcers, what you're going to exchange those tokens for. A very importance of this is that value of the tokens will be dependent on the value of the backup reinforcers to the individual. So if you have a whole bunch of reinforcers for that individual, a whole bunch of items they can purchase with the tokens, but they're not very interesting to that person, the tokens will have little value. So for the RBT and the token economy, the thing I want you to understand is that you need to understand what the protocol is. When are tokens exchanged and how often? How do you exchange them? And what the tokens are being used, or what tokens are being used. Again, the analyst for whatever particular patient that you're on, supervisor, will help you with this. The point being is that when you're running a token economy, make sure that you understand what that protocol is. Make sure that you know when tokens are exchanged. It's very important. How often they're exchanged. How do you exchange them? And what are they? This will help build up that skill for that person. Reinforcement comes in two flavors, conditioned or unconditioned. Unconditioned reinforcement does not require a learning history to have reinforcing qualities. Think of it as a more inherent thing. Things such as food, warmth, water, some forms of human interaction. These are unlearned. We're kind of born with them. You can think of it kind of as an innate thing to innate. These are also known in ABA terminology as a primary reinforcer. Again, unconditioned reinforcement does not require a learning history to have reinforcing qualities. It is more inherent. When an infant is born, they engage in behaviors that seek out the mother's breast milk or some sort of food. They do not need to learn how to do that. Food is a good thing. It's desirable. Conditioned reinforcement. This requires a learning history. Previously neutral stimuli become a reinforcer through association or pairing with established reinforcers. This takes place over time. This is also known as secondary reinforcement or secondary reinforcers. Stickers, tokens, toys, those are all examples of secondary reinforcers. Stickers, a star sticker to someone who's never seen one or has no experience with it getting them anything, is a totally neutral stimuli. It doesn't mean anything to them. They could probably care less. But if every time they get 5 stickers on a chart, they get a favorite toy or a favorite food, it starts to become reinforcing. And they start to work for those stickers. A special kind of conditioned reinforcer is a generalized conditioned reinforcer. This is paired with many conditioned and unconditioned reinforcers. Money, tokens, points are examples of this. Remember, money, a $20 bill to someone who's never seen it, is going to be neutral. Doesn't mean anything. For example, when my 2-year-old, when we were getting him a birthday present, a $20 bill would have meant nothing to him. He didn't care about that. He didn't understand at that time that money got him anything. My 10-year-old would have loved a $20 bill because he knows what it means. To my 2-year-old, money was a neutral stimulus. But now that he's a little bit older, he totally understands what it means. Because money has been paired with being able to buy lots of things, such as food, an unconditioned reinforcement, toys, conditioned reinforcers, and much more. The point is that when I say a generalized conditioned reinforcer, that just means it's been paired with many conditioned and unconditioned reinforcers. As an RBT, you will probably work with patients who have some form of token economy. If you think about our society, we live in a giant token economy. We get some sort of stimulus, usually money, our paycheck, after working for a little while. We're not reinforced for every single day at work. We're not given money for every single day at work. Instead, over time, we earn it. We get that money, then we exchange it for goods. In a token economy and an ABA intervention, conditioned tokens are used as reinforcement. These conditioned tokens are conditioned by trading them in for reinforcer. Tokens become the reinforcer that we deliver for correct responses. Tokens being the reinforcers can be a very good thing. They're easier to deliver. We don't have to give them an M&M every time or a toy every time they get a correct response. It also allows us to spread out big reinforcement delivery, delays the reinforcement delivery. We don't have to provide items or activities all the time or after every correct response. They wait to earn them with tokens. And in this way, it's a little more natural. A lot of kindergarten classrooms, and a lot of classrooms in general, will use token economies for the class to earn, like prizes or parties. And, again, it's a little bit more like our natural society. And it also improves the person being able to wait for reinforcement. But first, we have to condition those tokens. We have to make sure they mean something. The analyst, at first, may set it up where they are trading those tokens in a lot, maybe even after every trial or after every program. Because we have to condition them. We have to make sure the person understands that those tokens mean something. Then gradually, we're going to require more and more responses to gain the tokens, and or require that person to have more tokens to gain things. Again, there's a lot of minutia to this. But the big idea is that we have to condition those tokens first. We have to make sure they mean something. Imagine giving a patient 100 tickets but never letting them buy anything with it. Those tickets would become totally meaningless. They'd be totally neutral. They don't mean the person is not going to work for them. But if they know that tickets can be turned in for prizes or for breaks and stuff like that, trust me, those are going to become conditioned and they're going to want to work for them. Token economies can be elaborate, where you have a bunch of tokens and a very elaborate store to exchange for cool prizes. They can also be simple, marking off circles to earn something. One of the strategies that I've done and implemented over the years is to have a piece of paper where I draw 5, 6, 7 circles on it. And each time that patient completes a task, I'll mark off the circle, and when they're done, they get access to whatever they're wanting. The point being, though, is there's no trick to this in the sense that there's no magic to the tokens or no magic to what you're using. It's just that you have to be consistent with it. You have to make those things mean something. If I drew circles and put X's to them after completion of each program, but didn't actually make that mean anything, where they didn't get paid off for filling those in, it wouldn't mean anything. Likewise, it's only going to work when the tokens actually mean something. Okay, if you can imagine, if someone gave you for completing work every day, at the end of your workday, someone gave you 30 tokens from some obscure arcade, back east or something, that would be valueless to you. Okay, it wouldn't mean anything to you because those tokens don't hold any value for you. So it's important that we make the tokens mean something, and that's through consistent pairing with reinforce it. Okay. Token economies also help spread out and delay reinforcement. You don't have to get tangibles after each program or trial. Again, this approach is more natural reinforcement. But likewise, they should be faded out over time. like any of our programs, they are contrived. Okay, they should be faded out to be more naturalistic over time. For example, I faded out token economies as a child or a patient got older because the parent was starting to give them chore money, which is a much more naturalistic way to do it. The point being, is, at the end of all this, is as an implementer of a token economy, make sure to understand what the protocol is, and make sure to understand the philosophy behind it, where you're using items that are usually neutral, such as tokens, that don't really mean anything, making them condition reinforcers through pairing them with reinforcers, okay, and then exchanging those tokens for items, which makes them essentially conditioned reinforcers. And that over time, this allows you to use those tokens in place of the more tangible items, and this will help us spread out and delay reinforcement at least for the tangibles.